You're watching Tea and Poetry with Dave Steele, the blind poet.
There he is. There he is.
And here I am.
Good afternoon. Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, good evening. Good afternoon.
It's great to be here. I miss you. I miss
everyone
here. It's another week of Tea and Poetry. I want to just welcome everyone. My name is Barry Asman. I am your co-host this evening, together with the one and only Dave Steele, the blind poet, coming to us live from Manchester, United Kingdom. It's great to be back. I know that I've been a little, absent for the past couple of weeks.
We
yes,
both have.
Yeah. Yes. Well, yes, absolutely. Yes. It has been a couple of weeks, and there's summertime here in the Northeast. You have these thunderstorms that create havoc, flight delays. So the main thing is that everyone arrives safe and sound to their destination, and hopefully everyone is doing well out there. And we are excited to be here. It's great to see Philip, Lisa, Travis. Travis, your name came up a couple times this week here in the office, and someone said, I think it was Diane that said the other day, I wish we had Travis on. We were on a call, and she was, I wish Travis was on this call. So give a shout out to Travis, Sandy, Val. It's great to see some new faces, existing faces, and we are excited to bring you over the next hour some great new poetry, to share with you some of the latest and greatest as far as what's going on in the sight loss community. And, that's what we're here for. This is a great community. So I'm going to hand it over to Dave. And how are things on your side, on the other side of the pond, as they say?
It's been a kind of very busy couple of dadays, as you are well aware. Can't wait to share more and share everything actually in the next few weeks. The project we've kind of spoke a little about over the last couple of weeks will be unveiled, launched globally by the middle of September, hopefully. So we'll be able to, people have seen on my social media photos popping up of filming and wondering what's going on. So yeah, all will be revealed soon.
You had a much nicer microphone yesterday in London than what I'm holding.
Yeah, it was nice.
It was.
Yeah. Wasn't plugged in. That's showbiz. That's showbiz.
That's interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Everything from above?
Well, no, it was recorded. I already recorded the track in the studio.
Oh, okay. So were they playing it over? Is that what they're doing?
I was lip syncing.
Okay. So that's how they do it at all the Grammys and all that stuff. Absolutely. It's all lip singing.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it's been revealed.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Wow, that's great. It's
I was just gonna say it's definitely days like that. I mean, obviously we've had many conversations on kind of these amazing moments that I've been so lucky to kind of experience, and I never take any of them for granted. I always take the moments in, and I was certainly doing that every minute of the day yesterday. People were laughing last night. I put on social media that on my Facebook page that I was sat on a train on the way home from London with a face full of makeup. Not that anyone could tell, just they couldn't see my wrinkles. But yeah,
that's what happens when you're a superstar. Face full of makeup. And many other perks.
It was fantastic, and yeah, just the people we're collaborating with, and I am going to have hopefully one of my collaborators as a special guest on Tea and Poetry in the coming weeks as well.
That is going to be very exciting, and I look forward to meeting that collaborator, whether it's male or female or both, maybe. That will be very fascinating.
All will be revealed.
All will be revealed. It's I know there's always secrecy going on here. We're always
we're not doing it on purpose, so you've got to explain. We're not doing it on purpose. We can only talk about so much. We can't with the organizations that we're working with, some of them we have to sign non-disclosure agreements with, and in general, when you're working on some kind of projects like the things we've been doing, you don't want to kind of unveil before they do. It's their prerogative. Absolutely. So
this is going to be a big unveil. Dave's been very fortunate to be involved and collaborate with some really, very special projects over the last, 3 to 4 months. This next project that's going to be revealed, I would say maybe within the next 6 weeks or so. Is there a specific date? Okay. So this particular one is, I want to say it. Well, they've all been very special, but this particular one I think is going to really have a much greater, impact, feel around the world than maybe some of the others. That's just my gut feeling on this.
No, I mean, I think you're 100% right. Not to kind of talk down the other things that I've been doing. Obviously, I did the big event for Audi, which we can talk about now because that was done, and that was a UK thing. I did the online advertisement for Kellogg's,
right,
which was kind of a Europe and UK thing. But this is, specifically, not just for the low vision community, but really raising awareness of what it's like in the many shades of blindness, and dealing with misconceptions, and also bridging that gap between treatments and specialists and the patients. And there's a lot of good that I think will come from this, and I can't wait for it to be out there and for people to kind of be impacted by what we've created. It's going to be something that I'll be proud of, for the rest of my life. Absolutely.
I know that's for sure. And we're talking about this now. We're talking about, here everyone's listening to this hypothetical, this, mysterious project. But this particular project, it reminds me, Dave, when you and I, in the early days of our relationship, where we were talking about how we're going to get certain messages across, how we're going to get certain exposure, how are we going to convey, just different things, misconceptions, things about, sight loss in itself. And I think that, I really think that this campaign is going to be able to really clarify that message.
Definitely. So what I want to do tonight, and I'm glad we're talking about this now, because these things happen naturally. We have these conversations, and pieces of poetry come at the right moments, and we have guests that come on and talk about things. I know, looking at the faces that are out there tonight, I know we're going to have Travis speaking, but I want to encourage some of our new listeners to actually raise their hand and come and interact. And what I want to know from you guys tonight is, if you could share one message about living with blindness, low vision, whatever you want to call it, with the world, a key thing that you'd want everyone to know outside of our community, what would that be? So have a little think about that, and I want you to come on and tell us. You can put it in the chat, or there's the Q&A, and ideally, I'd like you to come on either audio or visual. I think Barry's going to kind of run through how to do that for the new people. Do we want the piece of poetry first, and then we'll get into that?
Let me do the housekeeping first, because that's important.
Sure.
So as Dave was saying, we encourage everyone to interact. This is a great environment. For those of you who are new, you'll feel like this is a very close-knit community. We want you to feel that same warmth. So we encourage you to interact. There are a couple ways you can interact with us. One, you can raise your hand. There is a button that says raise my hand or raise your hand. I don't know the exact lingo, but something along those lines. And when you raise your hand, like Travis always does, then that means that we will bring you on and have you become a panelist. When you are selected to be a panelist, you will have the option to go video with audio, or if you're comfortable with, just one or the other, or I should say, if you're only comfortable with audio, that's also fine. So we want you to feel good, you don't have to be shy here. And, everyone here is, I would say, pretty much in the same boat, and really, just coming together here to hear Dave's great poetry and interact with the community here. So you can raise your hand. You can also send a message through the Q&A. And I'm sure that, like previous weeks, the chat is probably not working for some reason. I'm trying to figure that out. So if you have a message, you could just send it through the Q&A. I will, if you're feeling really shy, you can send a message through the Q&A. I'm happy to read it. And that happens, from time to time. So, but I encourage, Dave encourages everyone, please, don't be shy. If you're never spoken up before on a live stream, this could be a great opportunity to get past that barrier. And
I've just got into the chat and put hi in there. I don't know if you can see that pop up.
I see that. And I also just want to point out from this particular week, I'm feeling very energized. Dave can probably see, for those of you who can tell, I am standing this week. I am normally I'm normally seated behind a desk for tea and poetry. Today I am standing, and I've also been fortunate. I was just handed a fresh cup of a tall Pike Place from Starbucks. So
nice.
I will wish.
And I don't know if you notice as well the difference of a matter of weeks now. A few weeks ago, I think actually the last time we did tea and poetry together, you were commenting about how at this time at 9 p.m. At the UK, it was still light outside.
I see it's dark.
Oh God, I've just done there.
It's just dark. I see.
It's pitch black out there.
Wow. Yeah, time of the sun is setting earlier. We've definitely noticed that here as well.
Yeah,
it's getting darker earlier and earlier, and it's dropping fast.
Okay, so yeah, let's get to it. So
one thing I wanted to say, and now, yes, I still want to say one last thing, very important. For those of you who like to rewatch tea and poetry at a later date and time, the episodes, they are now being uploaded on a weekly basis. Just want to put that out there. Go to the YouTube channel, Dave. It's the Blind Poet YouTube channel. You will find it, BP, the Blind Poet YouTube channel. And episodes are being uploaded now on a weekly basis. I'm glad to say we have a brand new format. Check it out.
Yeah,
give it a like, give it a share, and let us know what you think.
I had it streamed on my TV today, and it was cool.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's another one that's about to post. So
awesome.
Give a shout out to Mohammed. Take it away.
Yeah, thank you. So that's kind of the message for tonight. If you could put one message out to outside of the blind community, what would that message be? Going off the back of this campaign, and also really ties in with this first poem that I'm going to read tonight, which I've plucked out from the over 1,000 poems I've written now. We are well over 1,000. And this one, I can only describe as being pretty epic in its message. So here we go. We think the conversation about blindness has progressed, but unfortunately, most people still would fail a simple test. It's not all black and white. There's many ways to lose our sight. And the way that we're still misjudged today, this simply isn't right. Why is it that why is it that they can't grasp the fact that we don't just see black, and the vision in our minds is not a skill that we all lack? Too many unemployed for our disability, no need for segregation. It's not you and us, it's we. So let's remove the awkwardness that we still know exists. The elephant within the room, the point that you have missed. I don't look blind, no outward signs to my anxiety, brought on by being doubted for the way that I still see. This cane I use, please don't confuse. I still can use my phone. Thanks to assistive tech, I feel a little less alone. My guide dog shouldn't be refused. The law says let us in. Too many of us turned away. When will the change begin? I've talked to people just like me who've now stopped going out. The places that they used to love now filled instead with doubt. It's not too late. Don't isolate. Our fate is ours to choose. But they portray a stereotype in stories in the news. So I am here to share my tears, to speak of our frustrations, to start a conversation with these rhyming explanations, in hope this bottled message floats across the deepest sea, to change the way the world today still judges you and me. But none of this will happen if my words today aren't shared. If we can't speak, tomorrow's bleak. For this, I'm not prepared. The blindness in our eyes don't mean that we should be confined. Let's change the way that, let's change the way that blindness today, let's change, sorry, my eyes have gone. Together, let us change the way that blindness is defined. My eyes went a bit wobbly there. Apologies.
Okay, where do we start with this one? There's a lot to
A lot.
digest.
A lot.
A lot to digest on this one. So before I say anything, I want to just, of course, open it up. Thank you, Sandra, for your feedback. Brilliant, so true words, 100%. Yeah, again, please, we would love you to join the conversation. A lot to digest there. So we could talk about, that message in the bottle. I always think of that song from Police, message, message in the bottle.
Absolutely.
There is a big message in the bottle when it comes to sight loss. And I feel that things are changing. Things are making progress. But it's like slow. These are slow changes. But I definitely feel that things are, we're making headway because, the conversations that, Dave, that we have externally with the vendors, the collaborators, and bringing in new faces for individuals who are sighted, bring new faces into the sight loss community. With every one of those conversations, we are pushing the door further and further open and making that message more and more front and center. So
I've had people kind of say to me, it's difficult to do that at the moment because the whole world's talking about COVID and the focus is switched away from other disabilities, and and the focus is all on this kind of thing. And I disagree with that. Tea and Poetry, Barry, was born out of this conversation that we had about keeping connected with people when we were in lockdown, and how that first episode, before it was even called Tea and Poetry, was about getting people's feelings and talking about how actually a lot of the world now, as we're kind of 18, 19 months down the line of COVID, has experienced feelings. A lot of people have experienced feelings for the first time and had to deal with things for the first time that people with disability and people living with blindness and low vision have been dealing with for years and years and years. So actually, it's the opposite of the focus is on COVID. This is the perfect time to be pushing that door wide open, because people will actually be understanding more of what it's like for a lot of people living with disabilities, and how there needs to be a change in isolation, and we need to kind of bridge these barriers of accessibility and the unemployment rate and things like that. This is a perfect time to do it. And actually, COVID and what has happened over the last 18, 19 months has actually just given people more of an insight, and hopefully they'll be more receptive to the message.
I think they are. And, as someone who's sighted, if I am challenged by something, if something within my day or my routine or something within my travels, something doesn't go, 100%, or something, something, there's a delay, right? And I say to myself, well, if I'm having, difficulty, dealing with whatever the issue is, how is someone with sight loss going to be able to deal with that specific, situation? And I think that, my mind is trained, to think like that, because this is what, this is the community. This is my passion. This is what I do day in, day out, as far as, the awareness, the advocacy, and when we talk about assistive technology, bring that to the table. That's a whole nother conversation. But there, I use those moments to say, it's like, well, maybe this is a great springboard to, push these companies to make changes and do a better job for everyone, and and not just the sight loss community, but it also be inclusive of that as well.
It's the thing that really inspires me to actually do the work that we do, and get out and talk to big organizations and put myself out there, showing that sight loss or blindness, low vision, whatever you want to call it, doesn't look a certain way.
Right.
And challenging those stereotypes. I was having a conversation in a room yesterday with a couple of the makeup artists and a couple of the team from the company that's kind of running the whole thing, and we were talking away, and I was saying about you know, I was having my lunch at the same time. I've just kind of done my bit of the shoot, and I put my cane down, resting against a chair, and I kind of moved away from it. And I said, the way you guys perceive me when I'm stood holding that cane to the
Right.
way I am now when I'm stepped away from it and just talking, you wouldn't know.
Right.
If you see me walking through the room with my cane swiping from side to side, if you're not going to look in my eyes, I'm not going to make a connection with you. You just think, oh, that there's a stereotypical blind person. But the minute I drop that cane, that symbol down,
Right.
and move away, you wouldn't know whatsoever. And as I've talked about on here before, when I'm in a setting where I'm very familiar with the layout, my home could be your office.
Yep.
I can walk around. I don't need my cane to get around from room to room. So actually just kind of pointing these things out to people makes perfect sense once you explain it, but it's not until you explain it that you see that light bulb go on in people outside of the community.
Correct.
And having tools like the IRA app that I spoke about a few weeks ago, where it shows how people with RP and glaucoma and retinal detachment, all these things can't see, having tools like that to just basically show someone and go, this is how I see.
Right.
And they go, I get it. And it just, opens up a lot of questions. It makes perfect sense now. Why would I think that? But people do.
Correct. All right, let's bring on Lisa. Lisa, we're coming right up. Not yet.
Yep.
Oh, there you are.
Can you hear me now? Okay.
We can hear you now.
Well, when Dave posed the question about one thing we would change, one thing immediately came to mind, and then he read his poem, which basically very much more eloquently than I could say, said what I wanted to say, which is that if I could change anything, it is that people do not stereotype what low vision and blindness looks like. And I know we've talked about that endlessly in these sessions and in many other forums, but the judgments that people make when they look at you and see something a certain way just adds so much burden to what so many of us are already dealing with in our daily life and trying to,
Lisa, tell me if you agree with me on this. And this is a conversation that I want to keep on having. Is actually a lot of the major kind of charities and organizations, and over here in the UK, people like RNIB, Guide Dogs, they all tend to do this. They're guilty of using that very stereotypical looking blind person who doesn't make eye contact, who maybe has no light perception or can't see faces at all. They'll use that kind of stereotype in the kind of commercials and pictures and things like that, and that kind of adds to it. And they do it because they've got to sell this kind of message in a very kind of short space of time, and have an impact with people in the outside of the blind community. But actually, as you were just saying there, it has a negative impact. It has probably more of a negative impact than it does a positive for people like us.
Yeah, and I think those organizations, as many wonderful things that they accomplish, I think they really do a disservice by not spending more time or allocating funds to that specific topic, explaining to the general public. Like we had all those PSAs about smoking and drugs and all the things that taught us what those could do to us. We don't have public service announcements that talk about disabilities and what they look like or don't look like. I mean,
because it is a simple message. And that's the thing, that's a really frustrating thing. It is a really simple message that there's many shades. And if everyone knew that, if there was just we could get that message out there to everyone in such a wide way, through kind of mainstream media, people could just step out the homes without having to worry about using a cane where they want to, where they need to.
It's like in one of our sessions, you were talking about how we often act like we see less to
Yes.
protect. There are
Yeah.
times I wear my sunglasses places that I really don't need them, because if someone makes eye contact with me, they think I can see things that I can't see. So I'll wear my glasses so that they believe that I can't see.
Yeah.
And
We all do it.
and that's part of that educating the public that I think hasn't been done well enough yet.
I'll tell you something. This will make you laugh, and this is so funny saying this. Even saying this out loud, it just makes me laugh. But I know I'm not the only one that does this. So, as a lot of you will know, especially those who follow me on social media, I've been away the last couple of days in London doing some filming for this big campaign that I'm kind of coming to the end of now.
Front and center.
And whenever I travel anywhere, I have assistants booked to help me on and off trains. Are you still there, Lisa? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm still here.
Okay, sorry. So I have assistants helping me on and off the trains, and they're probably more trained than most people, but there's still certain misconceptions on people with low vision. And I did this thing, and it's not the first time I've done it. Yesterday. Sorry, the day before. When I was traveling down to London, I'd gone to Manchester in the morning. I'd got the tram, like a light rail into Manchester, and then was at the train station. And I got there early, and I was waiting for my assistants to come. And I sat on these kind of chairs, like this chairs for people with disabilities, like a waiting area. And this guy comes up, sees the cane. Mr. Steele. And he's talking to me about when the train's coming in and how he's going to get me across and stuff like that. And not once did I make eye contact with this guy. He's right there looking at me, but I'm looking anywhere else but him, because I don't want him to kind of give me that look. And that's, of kind of, you obviously can see more. And because as much as I love talking about, and it's my job, and I talk about it, and I try and raise awareness and everything else, sometimes I just want to kind of
self-preservation. It's self-preservation sometimes.
Yeah, I just kind of want to get on the train, and without it being a thing, because I'm about to go and do it, in London. So I just wanted to get on the train, and I shouldn't have to do that.
No,
and if that message was out there, I wouldn't have to do that, because people they'd know. Oh, you're using your cane 1 minute, next minute you're folding it up. That must be how your vision is, and no one's going to judge. And wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, that would be a dream come true.
There's actually we talked in one of the previous sessions, as you call it, a few weeks ago about I'd written this piece of poetry and used an image that kind of went viral about this woman.
On her phone.
Yeah, on the phone. And Barry's done something like that. And I think I said there was a video of I don't know how much you know about soccer, as we call it, football here in the UK. There's a team called Liverpool, who would like Leicester City, about 30 miles away from where I am. And there was a video of the fans in the stadium, and a goal went in, and in the disabled section where there's all these people in wheelchairs, as the goal went in, like some of the people in the wheelchairs stood up and were cheering. And I remember seeing this video go out, and all the comments were saying, they're faking that they need a wheelchair, faking that they can't walk, and all of a sudden, the benefit cheats, there's and all this stuff. And then someone pointed out on it, well, actually, just because they're in a wheelchair doesn't mean that they can't walk at all. It just means that they can't walk far. But until you actually educate these people and then go, oh yeah, that makes sense. They jump to the wrong conclusion. And so it's not just in blindness and low vision. No, there's a lot of things.
It is a lot. There is a lot of things, and it is very, very true.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks.
Very good. I am going to bring on Christina.
There, I was having trouble with the mute button.
That's okay. Hi, Christina. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Dave?
I'm very good. Lovely to hear your voice.
Yeah. I'm going to go outside where you can hear me and I can hear you. We got the television on in there. I couldn't hear.
Are you watching Tea and Poetry with Dave Steele on TV?
Just listening to us.
Yeah. But no, very good poem, and something everybody else could do to, you know, to let everybody know about the different organizations and what to do, and this, you know, about being blind and stuff, would be all the blind people write something on the social media and telling, um, you know, teaching the other people how to do the things that we do blind.
Yeah, absolutely. There's lots of kind of posts that I've seen. I mean, we often kind of share stuff on groups and you know, on pages like my kind of social media pages. But I always try and encourage people to kind of share more on their own profiles and outside of, you know, our kind of circle, because that's where we're going to make the difference.
Yeah.
I remember a few years ago, I actually, and this is actually before me and Barry connected, I did a thing on one of the pages where I talked about how people should share a picture of themselves with just the simple hashtag "I don't look blind." And it was amazing for like a good week. I just got on the hashtag. I mean, you can still do it on Facebook if you go onto your search bar on Facebook and just type in hashtag I don't look blind and click on it. You'll see all of a sudden all these pictures from all over the world getting shared. There was literally for about a week, they were everywhere, and I thought it was great because people outside of our community were just seeing that, you know, these people look just like them, and these misconceptions were getting erased, and it was great. So more like that. And we do need to, you know, more of us. It's not our responsibility to educate other people at all, but you know, I think for those who are willing to share them, you know, share the message, then all you know, more power to you for doing it.
Yeah, just a thought I had.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Christina. Good to hear your voice.
Welcome.
Thank you. So, gonna bring on Travis. Travis, if you can just unmute yourself. Here we go.
You are watching live team coverage of Tea and Poetry TV, brought to you by Audi, featuring the all-new Audi A4 Electric, Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, Laguna Seca Speedway, and these fine sponsors.
How are you, Travis?
Good. How about you guys?
Doing great. Doing great. Good to hear your voice.
Yeah, it's been a while since all three of us were kind of talking.
That's right.
Certainly, yes.
Stuck with me for the last couple of weeks, haven't you?
Yeah.
Hopefully everyone survived.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Oh yes. And of course, too, our future meetings, especially being on TV now, are going to be brought to you by Sedona Dave's tourist business.
There you go.
Something like that.
There you go. There you go. Big stuff happening with Sedona Dave. Big stuff happening.
Yeah. Cool.
You know, that's why he hasn't been on in a while. Something tells me it's big in Arizona then or something.
Actually, Sedona Dave, I'm not going to reveal. We're going to let him reveal. He's in California for a few days on a special trip. And when he comes on, maybe next week or whenever his next appearance whenever he appears next, we will allow him to divulge what he was doing this week.
Awesome. Can't wait to hear.
I don't want to maybe it's private, you know. I don't want to. I'm sure he would love to share the story and tell everyone about it and about the experience, but we will let Sedona Dave share it himself.
So, Travis, what would be the message then that you would want everyone outside of the blind community to know?
Well, first of all, I have to say, tea and poetry, for those who want to socialize and get to know people, especially after a tough year that we've been dealing with, tea and poetry is a great meeting, especially for blind individuals. You get to meet people, and really, it's part of making new friends and taking your mind off the stressful events going on. That's another thing. And I totally recommend this group, and I'm going to be with you guys for almost a year now. Comes late September.
I know, you know, it's, and so my colleague Mohammed, who has been working on, you know, taking the videos and getting them
Yeah.
uploaded now, you know, as far as all these episodes, if you want to call it. And at
Yeah.
first we were talking about, do we like number the episodes? And I was like, okay, hold on a second, let me go back and start counting. And I'm like, whoa, there are a lot of episodes. So
Yeah.
we couldn't get an exact number. I said, start with 75. You know, this is episode 75, but, you know, I think we were past that. So we decided that when you watch the episodes, the reruns, if you want to call it, on YouTube, we are now just using the date versus an episode, you know, number. So it's going by the date. So,
Wow.
yes.
Oh, that sounds good. I'm definitely, I'm pretty stoked. I mean, I'm gonna check it out. But I just have to say, I mean, you guys are doing a fine job and everything. But I wanted to tell you about an opportunity I had over the weekend.
Take it away.
That came up since you mentioned cars and all a few minutes ago on the sponsorship. I did go to my first auto race this past weekend with my dad.
Like NASCAR?
Not quite. Okay, so in Monterey, California, Monterey County, there's a speedway called Laguna Seca. And we went to the historic. So they showed like the old Indy cars and the old Formula One cars, for example. And I got to watch the old Formula One cars in the racetrack up close with hearing protection, of course.
Right.
And with my cane being seen and everything, I got to get a tour of a couple of race cars in the morning that we got there.
Awesome.
And I'll tell you what, it was so much fun.
I'm sure it was. I don't know, Dave. I wanted just to expand on that because I have to. My younger son, I don't know. He's going to be 15 shortly, but he's yeah. I don't know where he gets it from, but Dave knows that he is a huge NASCAR fan. Huge.
Is that right?
Yes. I mean, we're talking about like, yeah, huge NASCAR fan. Not just remember, knows all the sponsors, the drivers, and all the facts, the figures, even all the, just everything that goes into the race, and he understands it at such a high level. It's truly remarkable. So a few years ago, maybe about 3-4 years ago, I said, okay, you know what? He really knows his stuff. We've gone to, basketball games, baseball games, football games. Right. I have to take him to a NASCAR event. We have to go to a NASCAR event. And Dave, I don't know if you've ever been to a racetrack where cars, you're on mute, by the way, Dave. I don't know. Dave, just make sure you're aware that you're on mute. Anyway, so going to, like Travis, you mentioned as far as hearing protection. So
yes,
anyone out there who's never been to an auto race, specific, even NASCAR or whatever it is, the level, the intensity of the engines is on a whole nother level. It's like literally like jet engines that are like literally like in your ears. It's unbelievable. Very, very powerful. So the first race that you remind me, Travis, the first race that we went to, we're sitting in the grandstands, if you want to call it. And we're sitting there and we don't have any, hearing protection. And we're looking around and we're like, oh, everyone's like wearing all these like headphones, like I'm wearing a set of headset right now. Everyone's like wearing like, protection for the ears. And I'm like, wondering why is everyone doing this? Like before the race. So the race starts. I like a few laps in, Dave, we were like ran out so fast to get the headsets that were, that would quell the level of from the engines. It was wow. My head was like ringing.
Oh man.
Yeah. So
but the good thing is when you get to enjoy it with hearing protection, the best part is all the smells and all. That's another thing you get to enjoy.
Yeah, there's burnt rubber, there's all kinds of stuff. It's it would be nice if we did a NASCAR event. That would be cool together. That's something.
Oh my gosh,
that's something to consider.
Yeah,
something to consider.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
It's So and with auto racing, you can feel the excitement. You can feel the cars going by. You can feel the energy.
You can.
It is almost like a tactile experience.
Oh my gosh, it is. And I have to say, I mean, this opportunity came up a few weeks before, because my dad asked, my mom has been to the races, but, thought, dad wanted to take me for something different. And he came out in the backyard one day when I was having my breakfast on the patio. And he goes, Travis, do you want to join me in an auto race? So I called my managers at work to get that day off, which I did. And oh my gosh, it was just like the opportunity that will be unforgettable. I'll just tell you that. And we're going to hopefully try and keep it a tradition on an annual basis. I mean, my dad and the family have been going to the races, but this was my actual first race. I mean, we could have done it a long time ago, but in my end too, we'll keep it a tradition for sure.
That's great. We try to keep up that tradition as well. I've been to 3 NASCAR races. I do have one planned for later this year.
Okay.
So we'll have to
Okay.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Well, and hey, if you ever came out to California, you got to make sure if it's going to be there, you got to take your son to Laguna Seca if you guys ever come out to California.
Okay. He knows every track. So I'm sure I will ask him if he's ever heard of Laguna Seca.
Yes, but of course, going to the speedways and all that requires a lot of walking and steep hills. So comfortable shoes are the key ingredient. That's another thing. And socks.
Versus like going in flip-flops.
Yeah, and of course, if it's bright and sunny, sunscreen and a hat.
Yes, we've all. Unfortunately, I've learned the hard way on that. So
yeah.
Yep. Travis, good to hear from you. Be well.
Definitely.
And
definitely.
We'll see you. I'm sending you back. And
yep.
Thank you, Travis.
Thank you, Travis.
You're welcome.
Always. So Lisa just posted here. I just wanted to share that with everyone. She just looked up the hashtag I don't look blind, as far as what Dave mentioned, as far as his pictures on Facebook. And she said they are wonderful. So I encourage everyone, just like Dave, go check it out. Hashtag I don't look blind. I actually remember this campaign, and I think we should get it going again. Like Lisa's saying, we should get it going again. So I think it'll be good. I don't see why not. Maybe you've heard, Dave. I don't know if it's been expressed to you. I'm sure there will be hashtags for that, project that you're working on right now. So
I'm sure there will be.
Perhaps that will maybe really elevate, as far as the message.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
Can't wait to share that. All right. How about some more poetry?
Yeah. I mean, we're almost coming to the end now. I was going to say lots of big things happening. This is my last, I was thinking about it a second ago. It's my last tea and poetry as a 45-year-old because it's my birthday on Saturday. So looking forward to joining you as a 46-year-old, the same age as
come on in
your club.
Come on in. Welcome to the club.
Yeah, absolutely. We would have been the same year at school, won't we, Barry?
Yeah, absolutely. A few more aches, this and that. It's But I'm not complaining. It's not too bad.
No, absolutely not. You're only as old as you feel.
That is very true. That is very true.
And at the moment, I feel about 90. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, it is a very true statement. You only feel as old as you make yourself feel. And
so, let me share a poem with you. I literally wrote 2 days ago. I think I actually wrote it on the train because I like to do that.
Yep.
On the way to London, sat on the train, thought I'd write a piece of poetry, as I often do. And this one really kind of sums up how I am kind of feeling and how I was feeling at that very moment. Here we go. For years, I felt that I was trapped by Milo fading. Yeah, sorry, let me start again. For years, I felt that I was trapped by Milo fading vision. But now what once felt like a curse became my life's true mission. Though I'm still falling, I found my calling. These eyes are truly blessed. If blindness be the bullets, then this poetry's my vest. I never thought that I'd be grateful for this cane I hold. It guides me through anxiety to where my life unfolds. So now I'm proud through hazy shroud, I'm heading out my door. To show impaired, but I'm not scared of living blind no more.
guiding me through anxiety.
Yeah.
I think more people should use mobility canes. A lot of
We've
people
had-
have anxiety out there. And,
We've had that conversation. We've had that conversation before. Remember, we had it with
yes,
is it
Mr.
Ben?
Rizzo.
Oh, Joe
yeah.
Rizzo. Joe
Yes.
Rizzo. Joe Natty Rizzo, talking about how we wish we pick up our canes sooner than we actually do. And that's one thing a lot of people always say, and I talk about it still at a lot of events, talking about how when's the right time. Now is the right time if you are staying home a little bit more. It's not too soon.
No, it's never too soon. Speaking of mobility canes, I actually have, we, the Low Vision Shop, we have commissioned a new illustration, which Dave, you have not seen yet.
Oh, cool.
It's going to be unveiled in the coming days. It's something quite unique.
Awesome.
It's another incredible piece of the collection that we've commissioned and created. And, it just, we're talking about breaking down those barriers again, the misconceptions and, really that awareness and advocacy. And I wanted to stress, we're doing whatever we can from our side. And I feel that these illustrations that we've commissioned, in many cases, they go on box packaging as far as stickers and together with a quote from Helen Keller. And, I always say if it's the mailman, if it's the UPS driver, the FedEx driver, whatever courier it is, if their eye, they catch a glimpse of that and they look at that and question and like it goes through their mind.
Yep.
That makes it that's how change happens. So I think we will unveil maybe next week, if time permitting, we will unveil that new illustration here on TM Poetry with some big announcements. So
Sounds
big
good to me.
announcements.
Yeah.
So super excited about that. And where else? What else is going on here? Anything else you want to share, Dave?
I'm just currently looking for a poem to kind of wrap it up. I did have that one kind of lined up, but as we've kind of done it earlier, I will find another one. I don't know if there's anyone else that wants to kind of say hi or ask any questions or add anything before we do wrap things up.
I wonder if Amy's birthday card is going to be made out to Dave or to someone else.
Yeah, to get me back for yeah.
So
but yeah, so I've got a piece of poetry.
Okay, Sandy wants to come on here for hold on one moment. I'm going to try to bring you up to a panelist, Sandy. Here you go. Sandy is making her approach to being a panelist. Sandy, all you have to do now is unmute yourself.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
We can
Certainly
hear
can.
you.
Hi, Sandy.
Okay, I just wanted to tell you that I had spoken to you one day on this, and we were talking about preparing for being blind, and you gave me some great advice. So I just wanted to share with you. You said after I told you, we chatted for a while about the things that I've been doing to prepare.
Please do. Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of grabbed your beard and thought about it for a few minutes. And then you said, I think now that you've done that, you should turn your attention to what's going on and what you can see now.
Yeah.
This is really important. And that evening, I got a phone call from a friend, and she and her hubby invited me over for a day. And they have 2 dogs that are wonderful, and I enjoyed that. And then we went to a farm and we had dinner. It was such a lovely day, but I might have hesitated before. And I took in every little bit and loved it, and really loved it. And I kind of went home regenerated. I felt so much better because I had done that. So I wanted to thank you for that.
Do you know what? That's just made my day.
It made my day as well.
It's really put the biggest smile on my face because it's exactly right. and we're all, I think we can all admit we're guilty of this, is worrying so much for what might happen tomorrow, what's to come,
Yep.
where things are going to be, and nothing's certain.
True.
And
it takes up too
off,
much time.
we get so wrapped up in that worry for tomorrow that we forget about appreciating today and now, and that's one of the true gifts of actually living with a blindness and low vision that I've kind of recognized, and I certainly see a lot of people who have had life-changing things happen to them where it has made them realize that to take in these moments
Absolutely.
and do it now and appreciate what's going on around you. And I spoke about it right at the beginning about filming yesterday, and I don't want to reveal what's going on, but we had this kind of piece of music playing, and my poetry was being played, and I'm sat there listening to this thing, going, "Wow, this is a moment that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life," and I get that all the time. And just doing this now does it for me as well, and hearing that, that made such a difference to you. So thank you.
You're welcome. And I appreciate it because it did make a big change. So I'm heading in the right direction.
Absolutely. And remember that, we all take backward steps at times as well.
Yeah.
And that's perfectly natural to do that. So, I think if we kind of expect it at times and know that we're just human, it's a lot easier. Nothing's ever, life always throws us curveballs and things like that. So as much as we kind of see the beauty through the tunnel, or however you see, also remember that there will be days where you won't be feeling it, and just not to be too hard on yourself, which is the main thing.
Okay, I appreciate your help.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. We appreciate
All
it.
right,
Thanks for
take
joining
care.
us.
Wow, that really brings us perfectly to the last poem.
It sure does. And, it just makes me so proud to be part of this, to be here, to hear that, and I know firsthand how your poetry, how it, how the message is sent out, but to hear it firsthand, to hear that it just literally, I'm holding back tears.
We had a conversation literally a week ago about, once again, referring back to this big project that I've been working on, where as part of it, we spoke to a retinal specialist in the States, and in front of all the kind of big bosses from this company, the retinal specialist turned around and said that since she discovered my poetry and read a piece of poetry that I'd written, it literally had changed the way she was working as a retinal specialist, and the way she looks at her patients and the way she speaks to people. She was seeing it, and that was just from hearing my poetry, and everyone was blown away when they heard that, and I was blown away. And I said to my wife Amy, and I've said to you about it, and you're like, well, it's not the first time that this has been said, but every time is like the first time. So I really appreciate coming on saying that.
Nope, very true. And hopefully this doctor will be able to join us one week.
Yes, hope so. Yeah, absolutely.
I think she would really.
I think we could. I think I could organize that very easily.
That would be great.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
it'd be great. And to hear that you've been able to, I admire doctors. I look up to doctors, retina specialists. They do an incredible job. Not always maybe the most desirable outcomes for some individuals, but to know that how your poetry is able to give them, the light to see something with a different perception is very, very powerful. So congratulations to you on that. And that's a really an important task that you've accomplished. So we got many more doctors to work on.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll the more people that join Tea and Poetry, and the more people that share the poems, the more I'm going to reach more people, and that's all I ask of anyone I ever come into contact with, is help me reach more people with this poetry and the message.
So if you enjoy this community, you enjoy Tea and Poetry, if you spend the full hour with us, if you come on just for a few minutes, please like, share, subscribe, of course, and bring a friend along, because
well, absolutely. Let's set a challenge now. Everyone that's on this call, every week, bring another person. You know, then they bring a person. Let's start telling more people.
Let's do
if
that.
you can do that,
Let's do that.
do that for me now.
I would love that. We have a lot of people subscribe, and I know the timing doesn't always work out for everyone. Everyone's got hectic schedules, but let's try and bring a friend along.
Okay. So listen, I'm going to leave you guys with this piece of poetry I've just lined up, just perfect for that conversation we just had just there. I want to thank everyone again. I want to thank Barry for being here again. And it's so, you know, obviously we've both done tea and poetries without each other.
It's not the same.
It's
Really
not the same, is it?
right?
It's not the same.
No, it's not the same.
But yeah, it's great. And I can't wait, you know, to actually physically be there with you and you know, we know how exactly how much more of an impact it is when we're doing it face to face and live.
Absolutely. Looking forward.
Okay, I'm gonna leave you guys with this one. This one's called Yesterday, and it really kind of speaks to you, I'm sure. I remember feeling that my lack of perfect sight meant all my dreams were over, but I know now that's not right. The fact my eyes are dying doesn't mean that I can't see. The vision in my mind creates the possibilities. I've laid down in depression, wrapped its blanket round my chest. These scars upon my wrist show me I've survived the toughest tests. But look at where I'm heading. Look at all I can achieve. No matter where you are right now, there's hope, so please believe. I know that I'm disabled, but I'm able to create these rhyming explanations blind tomorrows contemplate. These words I write can put the light right back inside your heart and heal the wounds that yesterday ripped your pride apart. So even if you feel like you're at your tether's end, please know it all can change and there's good times around the bend. These clouds will disappear as quick as soon as once they came. I know, for I remember yesterday I felt the same.
I like. I know we're closing things out, but I just have to say I like the way the clouds have disappeared. I really love that statement. It just, you know, it's been raining here all day in Baltimore. We have a tornado watch, and you know, watching the clouds come in, come out. There's something there about that. I like that I want to build upon.
Sometimes, and I'm getting what you're saying here. Sometimes it's actually just after that moment when the rain has cleared that it's the most beautiful part of the day.
Correct.
And you know, there's beauty in seeing those clouds shift. And I think a lot can be said about that with our struggles.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, the analogy, clouds, sight loss, I think there's a lot there. So we will talk more about that next week. Wanted to thank everyone for joining us. Great to see everyone. Wishing everyone a wonderful remainder of the week and giving a public shout out. Wishing you, Dave, a happy birthday.
Thank you.
More, and look forward to seeing everyone next week. And just one last thing, take a look at the Blind Poet channel on YouTube, where you will be able to watch this at a later date.
Absolutely. Take care, guys.
All right, staying so long. Be well. Take care, Dave.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night. All of us. Cheers.
Thank you for watching Tea and Poetry, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Join us live every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. UK. A big thank you to our sponsors, the Lanny D. Chesapeake Lighthouse and the Low Vision Shop. If you enjoyed Tea and Poetry, please invite a friend, like, share, and subscribe.